How are you feeling about having this cookbook out in the world?
Oh my God, it's like truly like giving birth. It's just, but it's more than that because when you give birth, your troubles begin. This is like, it's been a long pregnancy, 3.5 years, but there is no like late night, not sleeping all night. It's just incredible. It's just truly incredible.
What was the hardest part about it?
I have a vision of what I want to do, like plates, and the hardest part was really communicate that. But then it came to the aspect of presentation. I have a very minimalist approach to everything, especially my food. And as you see with the space, everything is really minimal. And I had to convince people around me that not all Middle Eastern food should be on tapestry, ornamental dishes. It was some arm twisting to convince people that there is a direction here and trust my direction. First of all, Iranian food is very different than the rest of the food in the region. Secondly, it's my food, and my food has its own voice. But it wasn't so hard.
Were the recipes in the book written down before the book existed?
Yes, many.
Yeah.
About 70. I had about 70 recipes written down. They had to be retested. I realized how much I also have changed. Like, probably if I cook these dishes a year from now, that will be different. We don't do the same thing over
Really?
and yeah. I constantly change. And
Based on what?
because based on what I feel now, what exposure I get now versus 5 years ago, the food I eat, like the chicken sauce that is on the table, and it's on the right now. The recipe you have in the book is the recipe when we started the restaurant. Over the years, this sauce evolved, and I like it much more. So it has ginger, it has orange peels, and I'm like, yeah, ginger is not so traditional to Iranian cooking, but I use it in everything. Why not put it in my chicken sauce? So yeah, even right now, many of the dishes, we try to be really, it's so hard for me to be consistent. It's a restaurant, we have to be consistent. But there are sometimes a little bit, and so what?
Yeah.
Still is delicious.
Yeah. If you're trying it back there and you like it,
Exactly.
Go
Yeah.
for it.
Sometimes more savory, sometimes more, little more sugar. It won't kill anyone, and it enhances the experience because there's an element of, sometimes my team when they're tasting, chef is a little different. I'm like, let's try. And like, yes, this is actually better. Let's do it this way. And tomorrow, but we can't do it. I'm like, no, we go back to recipe. Recipe is our foundation. But I say that about, same thing in the book.
Yeah.
Recipe is a structure.
yeah.
What you do within it is up to you.
Yeah.
And here too, to
You
some
al-
extent.
You also say in the book that for the home cook, the mistakes you make are your best learning experience.
Absolutely.
Do you still make mistakes?
Oh God!
Really?
I burned our family meal yesterday, and not fully. I managed to salvage. And yes, you don't pay attention. Few weeks ago, there was sugar and salt not labeled, so I put something in something that. Yes, it happens, and the genius part of it is, what do you do with a screw up? It's like, this is where the challenge comes about. And this is actually exciting. Yes, the mistakes happen all the time.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's life. How can you not live without making mistakes?
Yeah. Kebabs are not on the menu.
No, no. I think there are enough kebabs from every Middle Eastern, Turkish, Greek. Just the whole world eats kebab, and not to mention, I love Japanese little skewers, and the whole
Yeah.
world, every backyard. We have a neighbor here who barbecues, and now and then, as we are serving our food, I smell their barbecue, and I'm like, God, this is so good. People make kebabs all the time, and I don't do kebabs for a couple of reasons. One of that mentioned. The other reason is I don't do some things that I don't have expertise and passion for. I want kebab once a year. Let it be. So I'll get my once a year kebab fix from somewhere.
And you're doing what no one else is doing.
Yeah.
So this is, and only Nasim can make this, because your whole life comes to this.
Yeah.
Do you think there are lessons in your story for people who didn't accomplish what they dreamed of in their 20s or their 30s or their 40s, and now they're in their 50s and beyond?
I think it's never late for anything. The moment, it sounds cliche, but the moment you realize what you didn't do right yesterday, you will do it differently today, that's a new day. And it doesn't have to be like this life-changing dream like Sofreh for me was. But people also should, because people sometimes tell me, Sofreh just happened? No, it didn't happen. It took 30, 40 years. And it was hard at times. I dropped the towel many times. I gave up many times. I had a nervous breakdown before opening Sofreh.
I read about
A
it.
full nervous breakdown, full on. Later on, I found out what I had was, I just thought I slept for 2 days, but I know I didn't. So it's,
No, so what was that? What was the breakdown?
the breakdown was we were ready to open, and then I even sent the invite. My husband sent the invite. I had prepared food. The walk-in was full. My sous chef and we were rehearsing to have an opening, and then I was upstairs in my sister's house. She also owns the other apartment, and rewriting the note, and I felt with so much fear and anxiety that I don't know what I'm doing. And it was so scary that I stopped like breathing. I have asthma, but it wasn't asthma. It was more than that. And I remember it was sometime around maybe 11, 12, writing the note. Next thing is the next day in the evening that I passed out.
Wow.
Physically. And no one thought, because I just always in my head, everybody thought it's normal that Nasim to be disappearing for a day and a half. My kids were not here, my husband was away, my brother minding his own life. And I woke up and I freaked out. I was like, my mouth was so dry and my body was aching. And I look at the time and I just quickly realized I lost a day, and I lost a full day, and maybe more, day and a half.
Wow.
The very first thing came to my mind, I sent an email to our sous chef. The family friends event canceled. Second email to my husband, cancel everything. We are not ready. And we were not ready.
So amazingly, New York, prior to Sofreh, didn't really have a restaurant like Sofreh.
And there is no restaurant like Sofreh anywhere in the country or almost the whole world, except Iran.
And why is that?
It's very involved, our food. To do it the way, with layers and layers, to do it right, somebody has to love it and take care of all that detail. And maybe people think that financially it's not viable. Already this is an industry with such a low margin of profit.
Yeah.
And they look at like saffron and then the candied orange over the rice and pomegranate, which is not in season, we bring from Chile. They think that it's not possible. But I would like to communicate that it is possible. Anything you give it love and all you've got eventually will position you in a very strong place that you can also see a feasibility, financial feasibility. Not just, for me in the beginning was just realizing the dream. 5 years later, we have financial track record to support that it's incredibly a viable business.
Yeah.
Despite pandemic, despite rising food costs. So giving love and care to your food and taking care of your team pays off. People will come, and they come and tell their friends to come. And to me, that is a viable business.